Kia ora koutou, Markie here in the mobile studio. I'm actually outside a supermarket. Gwendolyn drew the short straw today, so she's gone in to get some stuff. And I'm out here waiting and shooting videos. I've been wearing a mask and the lines of the mask are on my face, so I look like a kind of cartoon character, because they have this round line, don't they, sometimes around their chin. So there we go. Anyway, so another anecdotal style of video for you today, and this is about two songs, well-known song. Well, one's very well known. One's well known amongst a certain in a certain genre, and how I came to know the people that the songs were actually about. Quite by chance. So the first one is there's a song by Stealers Wheel, which is I think it's called Caught in the Middle, but it's clowns to the right of us, fools to the left of us, clowns to the right of us, here I am stuck in the middle with you, and variations on that throughout the song. And that was that was inspired by somebody that I met. She wasn't apparently a clown or a fool or Joker. Oh, check the lyrics. I don't know what the song is. It's a good song, but I don't know that well. But I never got the story. I just heard that the song was about her. So isn't it? And she died. She died quite young. So lesson for us all there. Always ask questions. If you're curious about something, ask and find out, and then you know, because you might never know otherwise. So that was Stealers Wheel. That was a band that Jerry Rafferty was in, which you'll be familiar with. Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty, the famous saxophone solo. There's a good guitar solo actually on there as well, but people don't talk about that. It's eclipsed by the saxophone solo, which is a fantastic saxophone solo. But you know, I feel a bit sad for whoever it was that did the guitar solo. So that was the first one. So it's a bit of a disappointment of a story, isn't it, really? Because, you know, it'd be great if I could tell you, well, you know, this is happening and it was about this and she did that. And she was I'm not going to name any names. She was a very interesting character. And she ran a spiritual, kind of new agey kind of spiritual group. And through that spiritual new agey kind of group, I got to meet another well-known person that I'm going to talk about in another video. So I'll leave that as a little teaser. The second person that I met that was mentioned in a song. So you may or may not be familiar with a guy called Julian Cope. And Julian Cope was in a band called The Teardrop Explodes, which I've not really listened to. They were I think they were a bit post-punk and a bit pop, I think. I might be doing them a disservice. Julian Cope is, how would you describe his music? Very idiosyncratic. It's rock. And he writes a lot of songs about the environment. And he became a writer. He became what the good old days they would have called a gazetteer, an antiquarian. He actually wrote a book called The Modern Antiquarian, which is a great book. It's thick as a slab of concrete. That's not a very good comparison. A slab of concrete could be of almost any thickness. It's about that thick. Tome of lists of megalithic and ancient sites in Britain, illustrated, and he's written theoretical essays about the ancient history and stuff like that, and he's very interested in the spirituality of it all, and some of his songs are based on that as well. And he used to live not far from me. I don't know if it was at the same time, but he lived, I believe, in a place called Yatesbury. I could tell you some tales about Yatesbury as well, which is in quite a mystical area. It was on the Wiltshire Downs. And yeah, great artist, very, very idiosyncratic, very quirky, lots of humour. Lyrics are quite anecdotal, really, about a lot of them, things that are very personal to him, real life experiences. And he had a song which was about the Newbury bypass, I believe. I think it was the Newbury bypass. So there was a big road protest. I think that was where Swampy came from. I don't know if you remember, he was a famous kind of protester who dug a hole and hid out in this hole and held up the road construction for some considerable time. He ended up being a guest on Have I Got News for You and all that kind of thing. So it was a big road protest. So there's like a camp of people staying out, and Julian Cope was in this camp. I'm not sure the actual title of the song, but one of the lines in it is, the police were confused because Rosie had shoes. And I thought, well, that's an interesting, what the hell does that mean? Because as you will know, or you may know, I'm fascinated by song lyrics, and I often try and decipher them, and I analyse them. I've done a lot of videos on song lyrics and their meaning. And I couldn't fathom out where that came from. And I went to, it was actually a kind of a druid event, and it was a peace, it was an event for peace. It was actually in a place called Durham, which again is near Bath. I've just done a video on Bath, and it was where there was a big battle between the Celts and the Saxons back in the day. And as Gwendolyn is coming back into the car from heroically doing the shopping, so if you can hear a noise, that's coming back in. So I will try and, do you want to say hello to the internet?
Yeah, all right. Ta-da!
So Gwendolyn is now 50% of this channel.
Oh.
It's not just my ugly mug anymore. It's my ugly mug and Gwendolyn's beautiful mug, which is hidden from us by a mask.
Yeah,
at the moment,
so I'll take it up in a sec.
from being in the supermarket, because we both mask when that's why I've always got this around my neck. People sometimes wonder what it is. They think it's like a oxygen mask.
It's a flow mask.
Yeah, so
Yeah, big stamps for flow mask. The CEO is a wonderful guy. He's called Kevin, and I just love him. He's a really good guy. So
we don't make any money off.
We don't make any
We're not
money.
affiliated.
Yeah.
Well, we're intellectually. We're what's the word? We're ethically affiliated,
yeah.
but not financially affiliated.
Yeah, just part of the flow mask community. And same with this mask. This is called Trident. That's the brand of the N95 mask. Don't get me started on N95s.
Yeah, that's a whole video.
Yeah, it's a
Actually,
whole video.
should do a video on masks.
If YouTube weren't such bleeps.
Well, they don't care about this channel. We're too small. One day when we're big, though.
Yeah, maybe.
So just to wrap up, because I don't want to leave Gwendolyn sitting in a cold car unnecessarily long. I went to this event. It was an event for peace, actually. I remember writing this really good poem, because I'm part of the bardic tradition. I'm a bard, official bard, and it was this kind of ceremony and event for peace. And I wrote this really good poem, but I lost it. I remember the main line in it is, peace is not the absence of war. No, peace is something more. All about peace. And I remember on my way to this peace event, I got involved in a road rage incident with somebody. I thought, it was a bit hypocritical of me. I was going to say road rage incident, not violence, but I got very cross and did lots of mudras at another driver, and got very, got frazzled for most of the journey, and then went to this peace event. So we had this peace event. Emma Restle-Orr was there. She is or was the Joint Chief of the British Druid Order, and she's a poet as well, and written lots of books. Quite an interesting woman. And we went back to the pub afterwards and had some food. And I was sitting next to somebody who I hadn't met before, who introduced herself as Rosie. And we found out during the course, I didn't stay very long because I wasn't feeling very well. I actually left early. But in the course of a very short conversation, probably 5 minutes, and this is what interests me. Sometimes I've met people for very brief moments of time, but it's been enough to exchange some really obscure thing that we might have in common. And I think, how did we get to that in 5 minutes? But we did. That she was the Rosie who is referenced in that song. I always thought it was his daughter. I thought it was Julian Cope's daughter. The police were confused. I think people bring their families to these things as well. But she was the Rosie that had no shoes. And I think it was just normally the police were confused because Rosie had shoes. She normally didn't wear shoes. I can't remember if she was wearing shoes then, but I think she was known for not wearing shoes, and she had shoes on. And for some reason that tickled Julian Cope, or it was just a useful rhyme with the police were confused, and it fitted with the general mood of the song. But she was the Rosie who had shoes and confused the police, and I've forgotten the story of exactly what that meant which is really annoying. So another lesson to you. And if you're curious, ask the question. But then if you do ask the question, you get the answer. Make a note of it if you haven't got a really good memory, or if you've got a memory like mine, definitely make a note of it or write it down. Or do a video on it, and then it's captured forever, isn't it then? So I'm going to follow this up with another video. So this is on kind of an anecdotal video, but it's I think it's going to be part of a series, because I've got another video I want to do about famous people that I've had connections with along the way. Often, you know, sometimes it's a bit tenuous, sometimes it's via a third party, but it's always interesting connections, sometimes quite weird connections. And I alluded to one in this video, and I'll share a little bit more. I met again by chance really, two of probably the most famous living, they both died I think since, but at the time they were the most famous and influential living writers and researchers in the field of earth mysteries, you know, so that's ley lines and all that kind of thing. And I managed to meet both of them, and I had some quite interesting stories and anecdotes to tell you about them. I won't say who they are yet. I will name them in the next video. And I've had lots of different, you know, kind of obscure and odd brushes with celebrity. I kind of feel like I'm always the bridesmaid and never the bride in that respect. One day I'll be famous. Not sure I want to be famous really, but one day what is it I want? I want it to be eminent. One day I will have the eminence of these people. I don't necessarily want the fame, but I'll have the eminence as that. So I will say goodbye. I'll leave it to Gwendolyn to sign off.
I'm having a little nap now.
Oh no! Yeah. You can say goodbye, because people don't see you enough on this channel. You're 50% of the channel, but they don't get to see you, and that's
only recently.
That's a loss. That's a loss for people.
Markie's so effusive about me, isn't he? He's very sweet.
Well, you may not know, but I'm actually quite fond of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm fond of you too, darling.
Thank you.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Remember to subscribe and check out Mark's Patreon as well. I'm not sure if you remember to link that in your description box.
Yeah, there's instructions on how to get on there and everything.
So you can, if you
want
to,
it really easy for people.
if you want a bit more extra kind of in-depth content, some exclusive content, just remember to sign up for Patreon, for Mark's Patreon as well. All the links are in the description box below. And thank you again for watching. I will sign off in the spirit of Markie's signature sign off, Rangi Marie, which means peace. So peace to you, kia ora, and have a wonderful rest of your day.